Am I wrong for being suspicious after my girlfriend finally got what she wanted? Throwaway because people know my main. I have been with my girlfriend Elise for almost 4 years now. We've been living together for 2 of those years. For context, I'm a product design engineer. She works in marketing at a mid-size firm downtown. About 8 months ago, I got laid off during a company restructuring. Hit me harder than I expected, like way harder. I spent about 3 months in this dark place, barely functioning. Then I finally landed a new position at a smaller firm. Decent pay, good team, but the damage was done. During those unemployed months, I'd fallen into this pattern where Elise became basically my entire support system. My girlfriend, my therapist, my social life, everything. Even after I started the new job, I couldn't shake the anxiety. I stopped seeing friends, stopped going to the gym, barely did anything except work and come home to her. I'd wait for her to get home like a puppy at the door. I know how this sounds. I'm not proud of it. I'd text her constantly during her workday. How's your morning going? What you have for lunch? When will you be home? Looking back, I must have been suffocating. She'd come home exhausted and I'd immediately unload my day on her, which was nothing because I hadn't done anything. Then I'd get anxious if she wanted to go out with friends or do anything without me. One night in late March, she sat me down. She looked drained. She said, "I can't do this anymore. I'm exhausted being your entire universe. You need to stand on your own 2 feet or we can't continue." It hurt like hell, but honestly, she was right. I wasn't being fair to her by expecting her to be my entire support system. I turned into someone I didn't even recognize. I promised I'd change. So I actually did change. Got serious about it. Reconnected with my buddy Owen, known him since college. He's been through some shit and came out stronger. We started hitting the gym 3 times a week together. I signed up for an advanced 3D design certification program through an online platform evenings and weekends. Joined a weekend board game club at a cafe downtown. Even picked up my guitar again and started taking lessons. I cut way back on texting her during the day. Like drastically. Only reached out when I had something specific to say. Stopped asking when she'd be home. Gave her space. Made my own plans. Started actually having answers when she asked what I did that day. At first, she seemed genuinely happy about it. Proud even. Finally, you're doing something for yourself. I'm so glad you're spending time with Owen again. She'd smile when I'd tell her about gym progress or something I learned in my course. And for a while, it actually made me feel good about myself, like I was really making progress. I was doing the right thing. But here's where it gets weird. The more independent I became, the more uncomfortable she seemed. Like 2 months ago, I noticed she started doing exactly what I used to do, asking where I am, who I'm with, when I'll be home, texting me during the day for no real reason. Stuff that used to annoy the hell out of her when I did it. I'd be at the gym with Owen and get a text, "Where are you right now?" I'd reply, "Gym with Owen," like every Tuesday. She'd respond, "Oh, when will you be home?" I'd say, "Probably around 8, gonna grab dinner after." And then I'd get that late. One Saturday, I told her I was going to board game night. She said, "You go to that every week now," like it was a problem. I reminded her that she'd wanted me to have hobbies. She got quiet. And then there's Mason. Mason 32M is a co-worker at her marketing firm. Started there maybe 4 months ago, around the time I was really getting my shit together, and she mentions him constantly now. Mason suggested this new Indian restaurant we should try. Mason thinks I should take up yoga. Mason said the funniest thing at work today. I wouldn't think much of it, except she never used to talk about coworkers this much. She'd mention her boss occasionally or complain about difficult clients, but never like this. Never this casual name dropping of the same person over and over. 3 weeks ago, she said she was going out with the team on a Friday night. I said, "Cool, have fun," and went to board game night. When I got home around 11, she was already back. She seemed genuinely irritated that I wasn't home. She asked where I'd been with this edge in her voice. I reminded her I'd told her about board game night. She just said, "Oh, right," and went to bed. Last week she mentioned she was doing another team happy hour and that Mason will probably be there. I just nodded and said, "Sounds good, I've got my 3D design course anyway." She looked almost disappointed that I didn't ask more questions. Here's what's really getting to me. The other night I came home from the gym and she was on the couch scrolling her phone. She asked what I'd been doing. I told her gym with Owen, then we grabbed dinner at this taco place. Standard Tuesday routine. She put her phone down and said, "You're never home anymore." I was confused. I said, "I'm home most nights. I'm here right now." She said, "But you're always busy. If you're not at work, then you always with Owen or at the gym or taking your courses. You don't have time for us." I pointed out that she was the one who wanted me to be independent. She said, "I didn't mean I wanted you to have a whole separate life." I asked what she was talking about. We'd had dinner together 3 times last week, watched a movie on Wednesday. I'd asked her out to brunch on Sunday and she'd said she was busy. I was making time. She just wasn't noticing or didn't want to notice. She didn't have an answer for that. Just went quiet and looked away. I'm starting to realize something. I don't think she actually wanted me to be independent. I think she just wanted me to be less needy and anxious while still being available whenever she wanted me. Still being under her control, basically. Just a more convenient version of codependent. Am I reading too much into this? And the Mason stuff, is that suspicious, or am I being paranoid because of how she's acting? Owen thinks something's off, but I don't know if I'm just projecting my old insecurities onto normal coworker interactions. Update 1. Thanks for all the responses on my last post. A lot of you said I should verify where she actually is during these team outings. Some of you called me naive. You weren't wrong. Friday night, Elise told me she was going to a team happy hour downtown. Casual mention like it was nothing. She said it'd probably run late since you know how these things go. I just said cool, have fun. Owen texted me about an hour later asking if I wanted to check out this band playing at a bar downtown. He'd been wanting to go for weeks. I figured why not, I had nothing else going on. Elise was out with her team, I might as well actually use my Friday night. We got to the venue around 9. Place was pretty packed, good crowd. The band was setting up. Owen and I grabbed beers and found a spot where we could see the stage. That's when I saw her, Elise, at a high-top table near the bar, with Mason, just the two of them. His hand was on her back. Not like a friendly pat, his hand was resting there while they talked. She was leaning into him, laughing at something he said, the way she smiled at him. I knew that smile, I just stood there. Owen saw my face and followed my gaze. "Oh shit," he said. I pulled out my phone and took a photo, made sure I got both of them clearly in frame, then I turned around and walked out. Owen followed. "You okay?" he asked when we got outside. I wasn't, but I also wasn't surprised. That's what got me, I wasn't even surprised. I told Owen I needed to crash at his place. He didn't ask questions, just drove us to his apartment. I didn't tell Elise where I was, turned my phone on silent and tried to sleep on his couch. Woke up to 17 missed calls and a dozen texts from Elise. "Where are you? Are you okay? I'm worried, please answer. This isn't funny. You're scaring me." I sent her the photo. No message. Just the photo. She called immediately. I let it ring. Then she texted, "It's not what it looks like." I replied, "What does it look like then?" 3 minutes of those typing dots appearing and disappearing. Then we ran into each other. The team thing got canceled and I was already downtown, so I grabbed a drink. He happened to be there. I just sent back, "Sure." More calls, more texts. "You're overreacting. This is crazy. You can't seriously think." I stopped reading them. Owen made coffee. We sat there not really talking. Eventually I said I needed to find a new place to live. He looked at me like he wanted to argue, but then he just nodded. "Yeah, probably." I spent Saturday looking at studio apartments online. Found one that's available immediately. Smaller than what Elise and I have, but it's mine. I can afford it on my own. Signed the lease Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon I went back to the apartment when I knew Elise would be home. She'd texted that morning asking if we could talk. I didn't respond. When I walked in, she was on the couch. She looked like she'd been crying. Maybe she had been, I didn't really care. "Can we please talk about this?" she said. I told her I was moving out. Her face went white. "What, because of Friday?" "No, I told you, we just ran into each other." I cut her off. I'm not doing this. I'm not arguing about what I saw. I'm moving out. She started crying for real then, saying I was being unreasonable. It was just a misunderstanding. She needed me. Where would she go? How would she afford the rent on her own? I pointed out that she has a job. A good job, actually. She makes decent money. She'd figure it out. I told her I'd pay my half of the rent through the end of our lease, 3 more months. That's more than fair. She went from crying to angry, said I was abandoning her, that I'd changed and not in a good way, that I'd become cold, selfish. You wanted me to be independent, I said. Not like this. I didn't even bother to answer. I started packing. She followed me around the apartment, alternating between begging and accusations. When I had a bag of essentials, I left, went back to Owen's. I've been there since Sunday. I move into the studio next Friday. Elise has called probably 30 times. I'm not answering. She's texted variations of the same things. We need to talk. I'm misunderstanding. She can't believe I'd throw away 4 years. She made a mistake, but it's not what I think. Monday she sent, "Fine, you're right. I've been spending time with Mason. But we're just friends. I was confused about us because you were different and I needed someone to talk to." I didn't respond. Tuesday, "I miss you." I still didn't respond. Wednesday, "I can't afford this place alone. You know I can't. What am I supposed to do?" That one pissed me off. I replied, "Not my problem anymore. I'm paying through December like I said. That's 3 months to figure it out." She called immediately. I blocked her number. Owen says I'm doing the right thing. A few friends have reached out after hearing through the grapevine. Mixed reactions. Most are supportive. A couple have implied I should hear her out, that I'm being rash. I don't think I'm being rash. I think I finally woke up. She didn't want me to be independent. She wanted me to be manageable. And when I actually became independent, she found someone else. Simple as that. The studio's small. 1 room, tiny kitchen, bathroom with a shower that barely works, but it's mine. I've never lived completely alone before. I'm honestly looking forward to it. Update 2, so something crazy happened. I moved into the studio 2 weeks ago. Honestly, it's been good. Quiet. Owen helped me move the stuff I'd taken from the old apartment. I bought a futon, a coffee maker, some basic kitchen stuff. It's not much, but it's mine. I've been sleeping better than I have in months. Elise kept trying to contact me through various methods. I'd blocked her number, so she started emailing. Long emails about how we needed to talk, how I was making a mistake, how she'd made a mistake but we could fix this. I didn't respond. Then she tried calling from different numbers. I didn't answer those either. Then she escalated. Last Monday, my manager Susan called me into her office. She looked uncomfortable. She said she'd received a phone call from someone claiming to be my girlfriend, expressing concerns about my mental stability and saying I'd been making concerning statements and might be a risk to myself or the workplace. I just sat there. I couldn't even process it at first. Susan said she didn't usually take these calls seriously, but she had to follow protocol. She asked if I was okay, if I was having any difficulties, if I needed resources. I told her everything, the whole situation. Showed her the timeline of texts and emails from Elise. Susan listened, took notes, then said, "I'm going to document all of this. Save everything she sends you. Every email, every voicemail, everything." She also said that based on my work performance, which has apparently been excellent lately, and the clear evidence I was providing, she didn't believe Elise's claims, but she'd had to have the conversation for HR purposes. I thanked her for being reasonable about it. I spent that evening documenting everything. Screenshots of all texts, emails, call logs, backed everything up. If Elise wanted to play this game, I'd be ready. Wednesday, a friend sent me a screenshot. Elise had posted on Facebook some vague thing about financial abuse and being trapped, and how some people think money gives them control over others. I didn't respond, but apparently several mutual friends did, in the comments, asking pointed questions, like, "Don't you split rent 50-50? And didn't he use his savings to cover his share when he was unemployed? How exactly was he financially abusing you in that situation? Make it make sense." She deleted the post within 2 hours. Thursday night, I was at the gym with Owen. Got back to my building around 8 p.m. As I was walking down the hallway to my studio, I heard shouting. It was Elise. She was in the building somehow, must have followed someone in through the main door. She was in the hallway near the stairs, looking at apartment numbers. When she saw me, she started yelling. "There you are. You think you can just ignore me, just throw me away. We need to talk." I kept my voice level. "Elise, you need to leave. This is my building. You don't live here. I can't afford to live anywhere because of you. You're destroying my life." Several neighbors had come out into the hallway. I could feel them watching. I pulled out my phone and started recording. "Elise, I'm asking you to leave. I've paid my share of the rent for 3 more months. What you do after that isn't my responsibility." She started crying. "How can you be so cold? I made one mistake, and you threw away 4 years. You didn't make a mistake, you made a choice, multiple choices. Now I'm making mine. Leave now." She didn't leave. She got louder, started saying I'd emotionally abused her, that I'd controlled her finances, that I'd isolated her from her friends. One of my neighbors asked if they should call the police. I nodded. Elise heard that and lost it completely. "You're going to have me arrested, after everything. You're freaking unbelievable." The police arrived maybe 10 minutes later. By then, Elise had moved from yelling to sitting on the floor in the hallway crying. I showed the officers my lease, explained she didn't live in the building, showed them the recording of me asking her to leave multiple times. They were professional about it. Told her she needed to leave the property. She tried to argue, said she had a right to talk to me. They explained that no, she didn't, not if I didn't want to talk to her. They escorted her out. One officer asked if I wanted to file for a restraining order. I said I'd think about it. He gave me his card and the incident report number. Owen came over after I texted him. We sat in my tiny studio and I felt exhausted, but also oddly clear-headed. This was who she was, I realized. When she couldn't control the situation, she tried to burn it all down. Friday morning, Elise's mother called me. I'd always gotten along with her mom, actually. She'd been kind to me when we were together. "Noah, what happened?" she asked. She sounded tired. I gave her the brief version, found Elise with Mason, moved out, paid through December, tried to have no contact, was now being harassed. There was a long pause, then she said, "I'm sorry, I raised her better than this. She called me last night and I think she's not well, but that's not your problem to fix." "It's not," I agreed. "For what it's worth, I think you did the right thing." We talked for a few more minutes. She apologized again. I told her she didn't need to. Elise's choices weren't her mother's responsibility either. Since then, it's been quiet. I haven't heard from Elise. I'm guessing her mom talked to her, or maybe the police visit scared her off. Either way, my phone's been silent. Work's been good. Susan pulled me aside Tuesday and said I was being considered for a promotion to senior product designer. The certification program I've been doing apparently caught the team lead's attention. That's honestly the last thing I expected, to come out of this mess with an actual career advancement. The studio feels less temporary now. I bought a real bed frame last weekend. Hung some posters. Owen helped me set up a small desk area for my design work. I'm finally finishing the 3D certification exams next month. Gym's going well. I'm down 15 pounds from where I was when this all started. Owen says I look healthier. I feel healthier. I haven't thought about dating, not ready for that, but I'm also not lonely. I've got Owen, the board game group, guitar lessons, work. My life is full. It's my life. That's enough right now. Elise sent one more email this morning, short one. "You ruined everything." I didn't respond. I just archived it with the rest. Final update. Final update since a few people have DM'd asking how things turned out. It's been 3 months since the hallway incident. Life's different now. Good different. The promotion came through in November. Senior product designer, 20% raise, leading a team of 3. The certification exam I took, passed with high marks. My manager Susan told me the combination of technical skills and demonstrated maturity under pressure. Her words made me the obvious choice. Funny how getting your life together at rock bottom translates to professional credibility. I moved out of the studio last month. Found a 1-bedroom in a better neighborhood, walking distance to work. Actual kitchen, decent shower, small balcony. Owen helped me move again. We've made it a tradition, apparently. The gym's still a constant. I'm down 25 pounds from where I was at my lowest point. Owen and I are training for a half marathon in March. Past me would have laughed at that. Current me bought actual running shoes. Work sent me to a design conference in Seattle 2 weeks ago. I networked, exchanged contacts with people from other companies. It felt like being a person with a future again, not just someone surviving his present. I've been seeing someone, Emma. She's a UX researcher at my company, different department. We met at a team mixer in October, started getting coffee. Then dinner. It's casual, we're both taking it slow. But she's easy to talk to, makes me laugh. Doesn't need me to be anything other than what I am. That's new for me. I told her about Elise on our third date, just the basics. She listened, asked a couple questions, then said, "Sounds like you learned what you don't want. No drama, no judgment, just acknowledgement and moving forward." As for Elise, I heard through mutual friends, former mutual friends, that she couldn't cover the rent after my 3 months ran out. Got an eviction notice in January. She'd been asking friends for money, apparently. Most said no. She ended up moving back in with her parents in Ohio. The thing with Mason didn't last. They broke up maybe 2 months after I left. I don't know the details. Don't need to. A few friends who'd stayed neutral at first started reaching out to me around December, apologizing for not seeing what was happening. I told them I didn't blame them. People believe what they want to believe. I've learned that nobody can see your relationship from the inside except you. 2 weeks ago, I got an email from Elise. I almost deleted it without reading, but something made me open it. It was short. "You won. I lost everything. You have a new job, new apartment, probably a new girlfriend. Meanwhile, I'm back living with my parents at 28 because I couldn't afford anything on my own. I pushed you to be independent, and I created the man who was strong enough to leave me. I know you won't respond to this. I wouldn't either. I just wanted you to know that I know. You were right about all of it." I read it twice. Felt nothing really, not satisfaction, not pity, just a kind of neutral acknowledgement. She wasn't wrong. She had pushed me to change. And that change meant I could recognize when something wasn't good for me anymore. I saved the email in a folder, not because I want to revisit it, but because it felt like a marker. The final period at the end of that chapter. The board game group is still going. Guitar lessons are paying off. I can actually play 3 full songs now. Owen and I are planning a camping trip for spring. Small things. Life things. I think about who I was a year ago, sitting in that apartment waiting for Elise to come home like it was the only thing that mattered, texting her every hour, needing her validation to feel okay. That person seems like someone I used to know, not someone I was. Life's good, not perfect. The apartment's still not fully furnished. Work's stressful sometimes. Emma and I had our first small disagreement about scheduling last weekend. Normal life stuff, but it's mine. My stress, my victories, my choices, that's enough. That's everything, actually. Thanks for the support through all this. To everyone who commented, sent advice, or just read along.